It's that time. Hopefully this is working. I'm going to wait. I know it's 7 o'clock, but it's time for the 7 o'clock episode of Joe Daddy's live stream, I guess. And I know people will show up. They always do. But if you're just checking in and you're interested, if you want to send me, if you want to be part of this live stream right now, tonight, send me an email, joedaddysgarage@gmail.com. And if you have a cell phone, that works. If you have a laptop, that works. Last week I had Brendan on from New Zealand. So if he shows up again, maybe we can put Brendan back on. But if we have other people from other locales, other countries, that would be great too. Canada, you're welcome to join us, anyone. And I think it's kind of fun to do it that way. Just my stool a little bit. It's always hard to figure out where the center is. I want to fit right in. But I'm sure I'm seeing, viewers, start to pop in. Got 4 showing up right now. So I've got the counter going and how long the broadcast is going. And of course, my name here. And, if I send you an email link, you can just follow the simple steps. And like I said, join in the fun. So as I've titled this one, this is titled Life Goes On. And the reason for that is we all have to consider what is going on with our countries, the virus and all that stuff that's pounded at us every single day, telling us we're all in trouble. And so I figured why not? We can talk about that. And you hear conflicting stuff all the time. There's somebody will tell you it's like having a cold. And then somebody will tell you it's like having a terrible flu. And okay, we've got, I see now I have Leonard is on the broadcast. Mr. Copacino, I don't know how, Mr. Scopacino. All right. I don't know how to say it. Scopacino? I'm assuming. Hey, Tim, glad you're here. But, like I said, we hear all this crazy stuff, and it's hard to say. All right, we've got Adam Scopacino. Yes, good. Andrew's here. Andrew, you want to be on the broadcast tonight? Let me know. Let's see. Colorado Mountains, Leonard Walters, glad you're here. Adam, glad you're here. Brendan, he's on tonight, from New Zealand again. Brendan 351C, 351 Cleveland. I'm going to have some coffee. And, like I said, we can talk about a variety of things, what's going on with life in the world and whatever. Another idea that I had, because I realized with this StreamYard, as you see up here in this corner, it says StreamYard. Hey, Jab. Hey, Joe. As it says up there in the corner, it says StreamYard. What I found out is I can also record a conversation or like an interview or something like that. And I thought about trying to do that with whoever, because it's one thing to have it live on YouTube. Okay, Andrew. Hey, Rick. It might, it's okay to have one thing, a live event here on YouTube. But I thought about the idea that, as I've said before, I like to do the roadshow type thing where I go talk to people about their car and stuff like that. And with that in mind, I thought about this could be used also as kind of like a podcast. So I could, just have a conversation with somebody, ask questions, talk about what's going on in their part of the world. And it could be at a different time. It doesn't have to be at 7 o'clock tonight. I could do it tomorrow morning, whatever. I could have a conversation with somebody. And I think that might be interesting. Lasagna. All right. Yeah, I might have to take you up on that lasagna. But I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. or if you want to participate. I think that if I do it on this StreamYard, that I can also edit it. I believe I can, if there's dead spaces or stuff we don't want to talk about or don't want to on the broadcast, whatever. I think I can snip that out later on, but I'm not 100% sure. It would be kind of an experimental type of thing, and I'm sure if Nick shows up, he probably has an answer for me and would know much better than I do because I'm still figuring this stuff out. But oh, so it's 11 a.m. for Brendan over in New Zealand. But like I said, if you want to join in, it's really not that hard. So I know Leonard had talked about it before. Hey, there's Nick. Yeah, I don't know if you saw what I was saying, Nick. We were talking about the idea of doing doing an interview type of thing on StreamYard, not directly on YouTube, and then do some editing to it. And I know now there's an edit button up here in the corner, and I haven't clicked on that, so I don't know what that does. And I don't think I want to know right now because it may screw something up. But the idea is that I could interview somebody on StreamYard, record it, and if I need to or can, edit it and then put it on YouTube. So I know there's other guys out there that you as subscribers probably need to know about or want to interact with in some way. I know that Russ from Double R Restoration, he'd be a fun one to have a conversation with. There's just Friday. Maybe Mustang Connection 1, Rich. Maybe I could do something with him. Okay, so Nick is doing that right now, as he says. Hey, Brian, glad you're here. It's been an interesting, obviously, few weeks with this virus stuff going on and just everything shaking up our daily norms. And, I mentioned in my last video that I put out, which was Brooklyn Pony 40E on the engine stuff, that my hours have shifted, at work. So instead of working 40 hours a week, I'm going to be working 30 hours a week. And even from that, it's going to get really kind of interesting because there's so many planes on the ground that I don't know if they can't figure out a way to get everything cleared up and moving. In the grand scheme of things, we're all in trouble. Stein checking in from Norway, but he's going to bed, 1 a.m. So see, if I wanted to talk to Stein, I would have to figure out what's a good time for him to make one of these recordings and then post it onto the channel. So that's what I'm thinking of. But anyways, I was saying, yeah, wash hands. You're right, Ricky. It's there. You look at all the aspects, all the angles of, since I'm familiar, hey, nobody, since I can relate to the aircraft industry, you think about it just being, airplanes flying and airlines making money off of people flying. But in the grand scheme of things, the support that airline or that airplane requires is where the money goes downstream. So, yeah, you've got, purchase of a plane. You've got pilots that have to train to fly that plane. You've got mechanics that work on that plane. You've got flight attendants on that plane. And that's just a basic function. Now, if you back that up, you got to have people that throw bags in the plane. You got to have people that fuel the plane, people that tow the plane in and out, people that clean the plane, wash the plane, all that stuff. You think about it on a big, hey, Tom, glad you're here. All, on a big scale of what all that does. Well, beyond that, you really look at, you narrow it down a little more. You've got people that manufacture anything as a replacement part for that plane, and the guys that work in that industry to take care of that maintenance side of it. Then you look at the stuff, food and beverages. Well, somebody, to get that food and the beverage on the plane, you have to have somebody involved in that stream, and that stream goes backwards too. So you've got to have, all of that stuff to make things work. Hey, Michael. Hey, Scott. So, you know, it's really a big picture. And then also you look at the idea, not only of all these things that are connected to the plane flying, but how does all that stuff get to the plane? You know, if you're cargo is another big thing. And all those items that go onto that plane are carried by who? Truck drivers. So truck drivers are involved. I mean, it's, and then you look at all the stuff from that. Truck drivers need maintenance. Those are mechanics. All these different things that, you know, you look at the the pyramid, and let's just say the airplane, whatever industry is, it's at the top of that pyramid, and you see how fast it gets wide at the bottom for that support group to make that happen. So, you know, if planes aren't flying, that tells you there's a whole stream that's falling apart underneath it, because people aren't going to fly. For one, if it's not deemed safe or whatever, they don't feel comfortable. But two, if they don't have money, you know, if you don't have a disposable income source to allow you to go fly to see family or vacations or just to travel, business stuff, well, you know, that's if they can't fly, then obviously there's no way the airlines can make money. You know, it's a great big ball that we're all connected to. And it's like this for any industry. If you look at automotive stuff, you know, the guys that build the cars, well, they can only build so many cars because people can't buy the cars. So you got an inventory of stuff stacking up in car lots because nobody can afford to buy a car. So now these guys that are making the cars, they're pushed back and they can't make a living, you know, to make that all happen. And then, you know, look at the money they spend. The guys that make the cars, well, they need money to spend to take care of their families, pay their mortgage. You know, any big industry is a pyramid. You know, there's all these little pieces that create that pyramid. And so we got to figure this out. We got to get this giant ball we live on rolling again. Leonard, my niece machines parts for different aircraft. Yeah. And if there's no demand for those parts, then she's not working. You know, everything's scaling back, and yeah, you're right, Brian. It does suck right now, but it will blow over, and it's just one of those things that's just going to take time. You know, we hear the speculation of, you know, it could be this timeline or this timeline, how long it's going to last. Nobody really knows. And I hate to say it, but the numbers we're getting from China, nobody knows how accurate those are. You hear all kinds of stories about, oh, we don't have any more cases. Well, are you really? You know, you don't have whatever. And there's people that come out and say, well, the numbers they provided to everybody in the world are like small compared to the real number that they're not telling us. So, you know, you can't trust half that stuff. You can't trust half the media, what they say. And I'm not trying to be political on either side of it, but everybody has their own angle on this stuff, you know, or tries to create it. Their end goal is to have us follow whatever path they want us to. So, yeah, Leonard, cut our hours in half. Yep. You know, and it's for us, you know, I've got 29 years with the company, so I don't have any worries about being laid off, because it just won't happen. But there's a good chance somebody who's even has 5 years experience here, they might be pushed out the door and say, sorry, we just can't afford to keep you. I know they're trying to get offer packages for people, you know, retirement stuff, trying to help people find a way to leave so that they cut off some of the top tier people out of there. But anyway, beyond that, you know, I got the stuff fitting in the Mustang. And like I said on that earlier in the video, I had a lot of input from people, and I really appreciated that. That gave me some, sometimes you have to just step back, drink some coffee, rethink what you're doing. And so in doing that, that helped me settle down. You know how worked up I get. But it helped me rethink what I was doing, and I think fully resolve that problem. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do exactly next for a regular video. I know there's still more stuff to do on the Brooklyn Pony, but I'd like to put a check mark on something, whether it's if I have the transmission mount and I know that everything is where it needs to be sitting and I'm done, I can put a big check mark on that, move on. I still need to work on the brakes and get all that stuff figured out, and I'd like to put a check mark on that and say that's done. So there's yeah, Brandon, I drink a lot of coffee. Does that mean I'm thinking too much? Could be. But anyway, you know how when you're doing stuff, you want to put a check mark on it. You want to say, hey, I'm done. This is, and so what I'm really thinking about doing this week, I'm really thinking about it because I'd like to get a step away from the Brooklyn Pony at the moment. Let's see, LD. That's a good one. Let me post that. When you put the top on for fitment, did you use the trim to get the gap at windshield? Well, I don't have any trim. The trim that was on the car was bent, mangled, damaged, no good. So that's one of the things that I would like to have is new trim pieces so that I can verify all that stuff. And I have not done that. So what I used, I put the top up, and after I did all my measuring and cross measuring to make sure the windshield frame was where it needed to be, and I fit the top to the frame, everything seemed to work out fine. And I've looked at other cars. I know there's a couple of other convertibles, and I did a comparison on those. So it's all close, but it's really hard to say it's dead on exact. Tom, I'm working on the Willwood brakes on it, and I have all the assemblies on with the disc, the calipers, but I still need a master cylinder and brake booster and figure all that stuff out, start running lines. I want to get all the brake lines in place because, if I want to do the rest of the underside of the car and get it undercoated and finished, I don't want to do that before having brake lines and fuel lines and all that stuff figured out. But at this point, I don't have that stuff. But let's see. Leonard, I enjoy watching you go about problem solving and tackle one at a time. Yeah. Yeah, I tend to take a pretty, reasonable approach typically when I have a problem. Hey, Jack, and try to resolve as I go. It's a lot better than just beating your head against the wall and getting angry about it. But yeah, I tend to take my time and try to show that too, because if people are watching my videos, they want to know what they can do if they have a similar problem. And that's the advantage of trying to explain this stuff and make it viewable. But like I was saying earlier, if you haven't yet and you want to be on this video, this broadcast, send me an email. I'll send you a link and you can be on and we can be talking about stuff. I know I'm still getting, I got all kinds of stuff going on, as you may well guess, I've got people doing other things, contacting me, and there's a lot of things to keep up with when you have a YouTube channel, that it's more than just what I'm doing right now. So Jack, how's your garage coming? Have you got it all put together and ready to go? I know I've talked about going up to Jack's place and doing a video on his Mustang. We've talked about it a couple times. So I don't know if he's got everything finished. I know he said he's building a new garage, and hopefully he has that up. Oh, Leonard, what's that behind you? Are you going into RC restorations? Well, that is a Red Cat Generation 8 International Scout, and I managed to pick that up off of Marketplace. The guy wanted a lot less than what he paid for it, so I bought it. But it's a really cool little RC, and I actually am going to put a video out on my other channel, workshop channel, because if you look at it, it's sitting up on a little stand right there. Because if you don't, the tires get flat spots on them, and so I just threw together a quick little video on welding together some scrap material to make a little stand to hold up that hold up the car or truck off of its tires and wheels. So let's see. Yep. Hey, Brandon, thanks. Hey, you can come on again if you want. If you want to come on, that's fine. Okay, we got BK Woods. Hey, Barry, I plan on sending you a I can't type. So we've got several things going on. We got Danny. Glad to have you here, Danny. But Jack says he's done except for the epoxy floor coating. Well, that's good. That's good. I could probably get on a plane pretty easy and make a trip. There's nobody on the planes right now, and that's not a good thing. LD, PPG stopped making red oxide epoxy primer. Well, yeah, I don't know why they did that. I haven't kept up with it. Let's see. BK, I plan on sending you a video on the 66 Mercury Cyclone from Paul. Cool. That'll be great. If you're talking about a viewer's project, that would be a fantastic viewer's project. In fact, that's a 66 Cyclone. I was leaving, well, let's just say I was leaving a parking lot, and somebody had driven this into work. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know what year that is. I'm sure it's like a 68, I think, or 69 maybe. But pretty cool, and nice of them to see that. Yeah, only flat on one side. You're right. Going to paint next week. Good. Yeah, Robert, been looking at flights or plane loads. Usually everything is oversold now. Yeah. And I think if I read correctly, I think American Airlines has cut back 90% of where they were. They've cut back 90%. So that's crazy. Yeah, Leonard. Okay, yeah, 68 Cyclone. Yeah. I thought I might put pictures of that on the Joe Daddy's Facebook page. It's a pretty cool looking car. It looks like it's got all the original chrome and stuff on it. It's got slight pitting in it, so they've never re-chromed it. But it looks like it's been repainted, obviously, and pretty nice car. It's kind of got a dark red interior in it. But what else are we gonna? Oh, Tom Paget, do you plan on restoring a Mopar later? No plans for it. Just not really on my agenda. There's not a lot of. I know plenty of Mopar people in the area, but the opportunities aren't that great to pick up something, as far as a restorable car. I have a friend who's into 64 Plymouths, and I think I mentioned before, he's got every model made in 64, whether it's a 2-door, 4-door, station wagon, convertible, every model. So he's got a couple at his place that I wouldn't mind having. He's got a 64. Well, it's convertible. He's got a couple of convertibles that I would be interested in, but just I don't have time. So, let's see, Robert. I love doing Mopar, but they're very rare and in bad shape, and parts are very expensive. Yep, very true. William, hang in there. Yeah, thank you, Butch. Yeah, I know. You know, Butch. If you haven't seen, it says William there, but Butch owns that Jeep that I did those headers on, that exhaust system years ago. He wanted to, put and motor mounts. I put motor mounts on it, I believe, and put the exhaust or headers on that Jeep. So known Butch a long time, and so we're hanging in there. Nobody DP74LF. I'm assuming that you're talking about that red oxide. I'm not sure. Leonard, that guy still has these two. Okay. Mr. Scopacino, not changed subject, but is painless wiring the best full wiring harness replacement or other brands? With that in mind, I'm going to say that there's debate on any of these, you could say. I've used American Auto Wire, so I'm familiar with them. I loved it. I had no issues at all installing it. I used one in the 55 Chevy, and I did one in a 68 Camaro. So, and the American Auto Wire came with everything: headlight switches. I think it had ignition switch. It had everything in the box that I needed. So I have not messed with painless. If anybody has any experience with painless, by all means, leave some feedback for Mr. Scopacino and let us know what you think. Big Kingfish, I would suggest painting the undercarriage ASAP when your trans cross member comes in, and then doing the brake and fuel lines after that, so you don't do double work. I agree with you. I do. But with the way this car is and has been, I want to make sure I don't have to do any more drilling or welding or none of that stuff, before I start undercoating. So I agree with you, but it's just going to be kind of a pain. But yeah, it needs to be done. Leonard, okay. So Mr. Cappuccino is asking about using painless wiring for Mustang. So any feedback on that, let him know. Let's see. Seymour makes a high solid red oxide primer also. So that question about the red oxide primer, nobody has given an answer on that. Nobody 66. Red oxide from Seymour. Okay. Let's see here. 415, don't waste your money. I can send pics of the one I'm working on now that was applied 2 years ago and not been installed. Rust trap. Okay. Let's see. Michael Law, instrument wiring harness on 67 Mustang. Is there a diagram that shows you where each wire goes? That's a good question. I don't have an answer. I think if you were to look at, I did the light blue Mustang years ago. I made a point. I don't know what you have or what you're working on exactly. I know a 67 Mustang, but I don't know what condition it was in. Whenever I started taking everything off, I take a piece of tape and I tag each separation point with a letter, A, B, B, C, C, whatever. And so whenever I take it all apart, I can know when I go back, I've got that. So I don't know if we have anything left or what the situation is, but I don't have an answer for you on the diagrams. Let's see. Robert says that the painless is overpriced. And it's cool. Okay. I've mainly used their fuel injection harnesses. I've been to the factory here in Fort Worth, and it's a cool place. So I don't know how painless compares to American Auto Wire. There's another company out there that I've actually used called Rebel Wire. Rebel Wire, they make different kits. You may want to look them up. I think they're in Tennessee. They made a kit that I used for the dune buggy, and it was spot on. And of course, that's a whole different animal because Volkswagen is way different from Ford, Chevys, and Dodge. But anyway, I used Rebel Wire. Let's see. Leonard here in High Desert, there's auto paint supply that carries red oxide primer. Okay. LD, nobody 66. That he says that's gone. Okay. Anthony Luciano. Guido. Okay. So, whoops. So he says, what it looks like he's got a broken arm. I love American Auto Wire, painless. Looks like you run out of letters. You need a couple more vowels. Okay, we got a better response there. Here he is. So he says, great labeling, painless, not user friendly. So that's worth something right there. I can tell you that, because when I used American Auto Wire, it was this wire goes here, this goes here. It was really pretty self-explanatory. Jack is asking me, oh, do you like the stand from Summit you used? I do. You know, you could build a stand if you wanted to that maybe be heavier or whatever, but that kit was fine. It had, you know, enough adjustment that I could make it do what I wanted. There's other brands out there. I think Auto Twirler makes something. There's several different brands and stuff like that. But for what I use it for, the Summit one was fine. I didn't have any issues with that. Let's see. As long as they use GXL, SXL, or TXL wire and not the cheap fuse block, I don't see any reason not to use it. If you're talking about American Auto Wire, the fuse block that they had in for my vehicles was the same as the factory. It looked the same. So, okay, Anthony, Guido, yeah. All right, Mr. Scopacino, good. Glad you got an answer there. Let's see. Mason Fox, how's it going? I'm doing good. My dad and I are building this hot rod Ford Coupe, and we were wanting to know, do you have anything cool you could send me for our hot rod, like fuzzy dice? Okay, fuzzy dice. I don't know that I have anything that would be cool. Not like that. I definitely don't have any fuzzy dice. I don't have an answer for you, Mason. Let's see. 67 Stang with American Auto Wire. I've been told to get the double barrel connection crimper. So that may be some information that people want to know. I didn't have any trouble with what I used, but if this is a recommendation, maybe something we need to look into. Jack was curious as to how much American Auto Wire, how much it cost. Well, I can't tell you what today's prices are because I don't know. I can tell you when I bought it for the other vehicles, it was around $450, $500, I believe. So I can only assume it's going to be similar, but I don't know for sure. I'm sure that you can pull it up pretty quick on Google. Well, Mason's asking. I don't know what I could send you, man. I don't know what exactly. I'd have to look around. kind of an odd question to ask right now. So I don't know anything that stands out in my mind that I can just say, oh yeah, here's a Wendy's cup. I don't know. I'd have to do a little scrounging around to see for something that would be appropriate for an old hot rod. There's Robert. There's Smock Brand wiring harness. Use a cheap knockoff fuse block. The really low price ones on the wires don't snap in very well. See, there you go. Like I said, that American Auto Wire, the block to the 55 Chevy was exactly the same size. It took up the same space. Same way with the Camaro. They looked just like the original. And what I really liked about those wires was, excuse me, got my nose itching. On the wire itself, and I think Painless does this too, it has a word that runs the length of the wire every like 5 or 6 inches. It'll say taillight, 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 whatever, or backup light, backup light. over and over. Side marker, left turn signal, right turn signal. So the wires themselves have the word written on them. So when you get back to the back of the car, and then also the length of them was plenty. Like if you wanted to do some custom routing to where the wires were more hidden, there was plenty of length on those wires. You cut them to whatever length you wanted. I know a lot of them I used, they probably had an extra 8 feet or whatever of extra wire that you could have, you know, snaked it around somewhere and hit it. But just know that at least the American Auto Wire, I'm pretty sure Painless does too. All right, GM guy, glad you're here. Yeah, Big Kingfish. If I had a piston from a lawnmower, that could work, but I don't know if I have any lawnmower pistons. But I might have some regular pistons. I don't know. I'd have to really think about it. Okay, so Anthony says, Guido, he paid $538 a year and a half ago. Was that for a Mustang? It should be about the same price no matter what kind of. Well, I don't know. Let me see what Robert says. Okay, so he's buying it independently. CJ Pony has a complete one for $805. Wow, that's pricey. Maybe I should look into that. Maybe I should look into, not that it matters. Maybe I should try to see if they sell that stuff on Amazon. Maybe I could list it on my page. You know, if people are going to be buying it, maybe that's a way to, I don't know. Maybe I can get a little bit out of it. LD, COVID-related sad news for the restoration world, was informed that hyperinflation is coming and most, if not all, Mustang or any classic car supplier are set to hike prices. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised at all. Might be a good idea to get if you need stuff, get it right now. You know, maybe just a thought. That's the end of that cup. Thank you, Donald. Yeah, that's a Red Cat Generation 8. Like I said earlier, I got it. Guy in Marketplace was selling it for way less than what he paid for it. And I've been looking to get one for a while. And I got it. So now I got to play with it. I think I'm going to make some videos on that thing on the workshop channel. Like I said earlier, I did a little video on making it stand. It's underneath it right there, out of some scrap metal today, just to keep it up off the table. But yeah, Anthony or Guido, fuse box is complete, or is awesome, compact, dig it. There you go. Yeah, they did a good job with that. He's saying it's in a 64. Robert. Okay, so he's going to get a universal harness. He have rolls of the same wire the harnesses used as I used to make a few small harnesses for GMG bodies. So, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing I liked about the American Auto Wire. They had extra circuits built in, because if you wanted to add in like power windows or power door locks, the kit had it. There was a space there for that. You know, if you didn't want it, you spool it up and put it away up under the dash. But it had all kinds of extra slots in there for that stuff. So that was pretty cool. Okay, yeah. Anthony says for 65 fastback is what he or 64. Well, 65. I saw 64. Okay, you're conflicting. 64, 65. Do I have a bidder? There you go. Turn two pistons into cup holders. That would be cool. Yep. Big Kingfish, you should get some Mustang suppliers to sponsor you. Well, I'll give you 2 rings for that. I would love to have some sort of sponsorship, but the difficulty that you have with sponsorship is, can you be trusted? You know what I mean? Because when I look at a product or part or panel or whatever, and I tell you, this fits like crap, am I going to be given that much permission by some sort of sponsor to let me know that this fits like crap? You know what I mean? That's the only gray area that I run into with that kind of sponsorship type of deal. But I wouldn't mind trying to figure something out. But oh, Brian saying Rust-Oleum no good either on slightly rusted surface as it claims. Experience. Well, yeah, you know, the products they sell, it's a lot of it. Like when I try to do rust prevention or whatever, I try to get all the scale out. I try to treat it with something else first to make sure it's supposedly clean and gone before I put any kind of paint or primers and stuff on top. But it's a challenge to get all that stuff out of there. David, epoxy primer, do you need to scuff it in order to put another coat on? Well, that depends on what your window is. Because I think you had sent me a question earlier, didn't you? David, didn't you send me a question about this with seam sealer? Maybe on the Facebook page. If you're looking at if your epoxy is sprayed and it tells you on the can what your recoat window is by whatever the brand is, it should tell you the recoat window. If you can't recoat it in that time period, then they tell you to scuff it. They will tell you to scuff it, break the surface, and then respray it. So just by default, look at, check the back of your can and make sure what it says first. But yeah, you're going to have to scuff it if it's been probably more than a couple days. Oh, there you go. American Auto Wires and Amazon. I need to go to my Amazon page and start listing American Auto Wires, or American Auto Wire kits, I should say. Let's see. Used to buy for California Mustangs. Classic Injuries bought them out here in Southern California. Okay. Let's see. 76 Corvette. What do we got here? I use electric limited products to rear my 76 Corvette. They are pricey, but are very good direct replacements for the factory harness. I have not heard of electric limited, but thank you for that. You get a bell for that information. All right, Guido, you gotta figure something out. I'll take your word for it. 64 fastback. I got it. Hey, Tempest, glad you're here. Haven't heard from you in a while. Hope you're doing good on that fastback. Tempest is actually Jamel. So if you go to his channel, Tempest Restoration, as listed right here. If you go check him out, you can look at that 68 fastback that he's building and that big shop that he built. Still jealous of that big shop. So he's up in New York. You can check him out. Hi, Cecil. Gary, why does that red paint cost so much? I don't have an answer for you, man. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. Okay, David. Yeah, I figured that was you. I knew the name looked familiar. Cecil, have you heard of or tried Rust Bullet? I have not. I don't know who makes that. I'm not familiar with Rust Bullet. Maybe somebody else has heard of that. Okay. Well, they're Rust Bullet on his floor pans, frame rails 2 years ago, and have not seen any delamination so far. Okay, good. Let's see, we've got Jeff. Your hinges are coming along, man. In fact, just to show you, they're painted. I just got to put them back together. And here's the other halves, all painted up. So yeah, they'll be getting to you pretty soon. Let's see. Guido, I meant to type 65. It came out 64. Links, there is no 64 fastback. Okay. It must be that broken wrist you got going there, and the crying baby. I understand it. It's tough. Let's see. We got David. I have been using KBS coatings similar to Pour 15. Have not heard of them, so I'll take your word for it as to whether it's a good product or not. Yeah, we got it, Robert. Yeah, woohoo, Jeff, you're right. Let's see. PPG and other claim. Let's see. Here you go. Bob Shoemaker. Pigments cost a lot more for red colors, and you know that's not unreasonable. I mean, there's anytime you add color to anything, it's going to add up. So, yep, yeah, Jeff, I'll have those. I should have those. I want to make sure that paint is fully dried before I go any further. So, you know, I've got the kits and everything, so I'll be putting those back together probably tomorrow, and you know, going to we'll figure that out later, getting them mailed out. So, here we go. Guido says prepping on my fastback, I use all Eastwood products, seem to be decent stuff. Yeah, Eastwood, everything I've heard about Eastwood has been positive. I haven't heard any negative stuff from them. So there you go. Jamel is saying he uses Eastwood rust encapsulator. You know, I think there's pros and cons both ways on that versus a converter. And I guess it has to come down to where you're at on the car. You know, some areas you can't do anything but encapsulate and hope for the best. And, you know, like I did the inner rockers on my 68 where I took, I think it was chassis saver, and I took an air hose and I blew all the way through the rocker panels because you can't do much else in there. You know, you're not going to really, if converting it, you still have to top coat something. Even if you do the acid products, you still have to clean it up and top coat it. You can't just let it sit there. So they each have their value. There you go. So Brennan, again, Brennan was on last week from New Zealand, and there's still time. If somebody wants to get on this broadcast, we can do that. I just have to send you an invite by email. Let's see. Shopline epoxy sealer, do I have to reduce it? That's a good question. And I don't have a good answer because I don't remember. It's been a while since I put on any sealer, but I'm thinking you do. I'm thinking you do have to reduce. If it's regular, I can't remember. I know that, you know, PPG does a good job of breaking down on their cans. And also I have PPG data sheets. Hold on. I keep data sheets from PPG on my bench so that I can kind of look that up. Maybe. I don't know if I can or not. I don't know if I have it for sealer. I have 2K, that's a urethane sealer, not epoxy. Acrylic sealer. Primer surfacer. I don't think I have it for regular epoxy sealer. So I don't know. You'd have to check, see what it says on if you can get one of these product information sheets. You know, probably your best bet to settle that. And usually you can get those directly from your supplier. PPG is pretty good about helping out with that sort of thing. So, Donald Rice, I have 3 T-Maxes and XTM X Factor. I'm assuming you're talking about something like that. Let's see. Here, Gary gives you a thanks, Bob. So I'm going to give Gary a bell for helping, giving you a thank you. Oh, Leonard has to step away. So Leonard's usually pretty good about answering really interesting questions. So maybe he'll come. Oh, that's oh, I'm looking at the wrong Leonard. Maybe not Leonard. Maybe Leonard Gilbreth. He's the one that usually has really good answers. So, but we want you back too, Leonard Walters. So you can come back too. Let's see. LD. I will only use Master Series coatings. Nothing will rust. Nothing will rust. Coated. 35,000 hour salt spray test and no rust. Using it for 10 years. Well, there you go. LD, you get a bell for that. So we'll put that up one more time. Master Series coatings. Now, I don't know who sells that or where you can get it, but I'm sure if you Googled it, you'd find out. There you go. Cecil's already asking. Who sells Master Coatings? There you go. LD says Google Master Series coding. It's just a big circle we're having going right here. There you go. So as Jamel was saying, he did the same thing in his interrockers, but he used a product sold by Eastwood, internal frame coatings. Comes in a can with a long hose. So there's a good answer. Give you a bell for that. Let's see. Leonard has experience. Leonard knows what he's talking about. On small parts, he'll use vinegar and water at a 50-50 mix and then shoot it with sealer. Now, Leonard, if you're doing that, are you talking about 50-50 mix, brushed on or something like that, I guess, and let it sit and then rinse it, let it dry, and then shoot it with sealer? I'm assuming that's what you're suggesting. So you can reply to that if you want. Let me just look at something here. Yeah, hang on a minute. Sorry. Robert, my interrockers still had a nice coating galvanizing in them from the factory and a clump of seam sealer, and somebody got left in there to clunk around. Yeah. Well, it's better than a big ball bearing, because you can do that too. You can put a great big ball bearing in there and let it roll around. That's an old joke. People used to, say they would do that. Put in a ball bearing welded into a frame rail or something like that. Let's see. I'm going to send, just because I know he's sitting there, I'm going to send Brendan an invite to the channel. And, if Leonard, there you go. David has a question for Leonard. What sealer you use after vinegar bath? So Leonard, there's a question for you that you need to throw an answer at. People want to know how you're dealing with it. I'm going to try to get Leonard an invite and see if he can get on. I'd sent him an invite last week, but he apparently didn't get it. So let me see if I can get him another invite. Because you never know. Might be nice to have Leonard on here. All right. Okay. So Leonard is saying, let it sit overnight and then use Scotch-Brite to wipe it off. So I'm just going to assume brushing it on, letting it sit, Scotch-Brite it, and then seal it. So, all right. I sent Leonard an invite. We're going to see if he can get it figured out, because he's going to have to use this. I know he's got a cell phone. He doesn't have a laptop. He's on a cell phone. So I'll have to see if he can figure what buttons to push to get on there. Robert says, my grandfather worked at Chrysler in Detroit way back. And, okay. And they did that stuff as well as on the hidden areas. Yeah. I found cars in my dad's junkyard that had messages written on different areas. I remember one was a door panel that was on a 65 Ford something. And when I turned it around, when I pulled that panel off, because I was going to pull out the window or something. I don't remember what I was working on exactly. I pulled the door panel off and turned it around, and it had a turkey drawn on it, and it said Happy Thanksgiving. So it had to be in there from like 1965 that somebody had written that on that door panel. So I thought that was kind of neat. Let's see. Okay, so Leonard's got before and after on a piece of metal. I'll send. Okay, send. You gonna send to me? I sent Andrew a link as well, Grease Rookie. So, yeah, Johnny, it's a yeah. You know, and here's another thing, and not at all to do a woe is me type of thing. You know, I'm in a good position, and you know, life is fine. We're doing fine, and we'll be fine through all this. But you know, part of this, what I'm doing right now, and I've talked about it before, is the end game would be to have a, you know, be able to retire from my regular job so I could do this full time. And I'm going to click on to Brendan and add him to the stream. So I'm going to keep on talking for a minute, Brendan. So, you know, with the YouTube stuff, I've got, well, combined with the videos on this channel and on my other channel, I've got like 540, 50 videos on there. Well, those videos generate money. Okay, so I do make money doing this stuff, but that is taking a serious hit as well. And the problem with it is people, yeah, they watch videos and stuff, and that's great. And all those little ads that play, that's where the revenue stream comes from. But if companies don't have money to spend on advertising, well, that revenue stream is down as well. And that's what I'm seeing right now. I mean, my revenue stream, if you were to look at it, you know, give it a scale, it's been here, it's now here. It's dropping like a rock. So, but it's, you know, just the way things are. Let's see. Oh, I'm with you, Brendan. Hang on a minute. Robert's doing his vehicle outside. No shop. It's just me keeping it protected with a primer. Okay. Just keeping it protected with a primer adequate for now. Okay. Mac, he's fine, but he doesn't have any toilet paper. We've got Ted Pony Cars. I don't know that I've. Oh, so that's Ted. Okay, with the 68 Fastback. Okay. He created his own account, not under his son Tyler anymore. And okay, so here's a question that everybody with paint experience can answer for Ted. If you see that question up there, he's wanting to know if he needs to apply a sealer before he paints with a single stage urethane. So I'm going to probably say yes, but I don't know for sure because I've not sprayed single stage urethane. And I'm going to add Brendan, Grease Rookie, to the show, so he's on here now.
Hey. Can you hear me?
And we've got Ricky Lynn checking in, and we've got DP. Yep, we're both retire from someday. I sure hope so. Hi, Dale.
Brendan.
Are you there, Brendan? I can't hear you, Brendan.
Yep. You there? You hear me?
Can everybody hear him?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, because you're both real. Wait a minute. Wait, maybe it's just me. Okay. I had my speakers turned way down. There you are. Okay.
Hey,
I thought I was losing. Yeah, you're there. Okay. You're there, Andrew. Cool. So first, I'll go to Brendan. How are things going with you in New Zealand?
Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
Nothing. Okay. You making progress?
Yeah, a little bit of progress.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I know you're working on that trailer, custom trailer.
Yeah, I'm building it's a 1956 100E Ford Prefect, which is an English vehicle. I cut the front off it and I turned that into a bit of garden art for my partner. She's always wanted a front of a car with a garden in the engine bay, so I built that. And I thought, what am I going to do with the rest of it? So I decided to build a trailer.
Okay. I saw the video.
So
I saw a video where you
yeah,
had.
yeah, it's a budget build, and I haven't really got anything else on the go as such. So I thought over the next few weeks, be good to get something done on this and get it close to the road, I suppose. So yeah.
Yeah.
But you may
Budget
have
builds are
seen,
the best.
yeah. Oh, for sure. If I could find a Mustang like yours for $2,000, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. But your car over here, there's one over here, and it's 30 grand for something like with your car.
How much?
Yeah,
Gosh.
30.
30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I can
I
send
was
you
on
some cars.
I was very appreciative
So-
after watching your live the other week with Barry.
Yeah.
Hearing how you guys have it in New Zealand.
It's, and you may have heard about if we import a vehicle, all the rules, the compliance, the registration purpose. It's very, and it adds so much more value and expense to, like Barry was saying last week, that you guys can just put plates on and register them and you're on the road, but over here we can't do that. We can't do that. So it's very, very hard to get a classic car on the road, especially if it starts off as a rusty project.
Yeah.
Which basically what's left around now, it's either rusty or it's mint, isn't it? There's sort of not much in between of classic cars anymore.
Right. That's true.
I remember 20 years ago, you could pick up a good car for a quarter of the price of what they're worth now. So it's good when you own one, but when you're looking for one now, yeah.
That's true. What's going on with you, Andrew? You getting stuff done in the car?
Absolutely. I got a lot of stuff painted this week. I got I have the rear end ripped out of the car.
Yeah.
I can show you some of this stuff. Let me flip you around.
There you go. You look at Brendan's projects. Oh, okay.
There you go. So
Great.
rear end's painted.
Nice.
Nothing fancy, but I'm happy with it. It's cleaned
Yeah.
up.
Resealed?
What's that? Yes.
Did you
I put
reseal it?
I put a new pinion. All I did was put the pinion seal in and then change the gasket. So that stuff. Drive shaft is painted. Leaf springs are repainted. I got to get these metal sleeves out before I can install these new bushings. So I have that yet to do. And then I have some work to do on the underside of the car there before I put that stuff back in.
Yeah.
I want to get all the grease and dirt off, loose rust, and then I picked up POR 15.
What do
Can
you
you see me?
Yeah, what do you got going there?
It's a little holder I have to hold my phone. And
Oh,
if I
okay.
don't do it right.
Yeah, everybody's asking where your dog is.
I can't see the comments with this. So if anybody's saying hi, I can't.
Yeah, they're saying, hi, where's your dog?
She's actually with Mama now on the bed right now.
Okay.
We're breaking a house rule already and letting her on the bed with us. It's ridiculous. But
Well, there's Brendan's car. There's his project.
all right.
No, is that a hard top? Yeah, it's a hard top.
No, it's a sedan.
Well, I mean sedan, but it's not a convertible.
Oh, yeah, hard top. Sorry. Yeah. So what this car is, it's a 1954 Ford Custom Line.
Okay.
It's New Zealand new, so it was registered new in New Zealand in
I
1954.
can't hear him.
You hear me?
I hear you.
You there?
No, I
You
can't
there?
hear Brett. Is he talking?
Is that better?
Yeah, he's talking.
Okay. I don't know what I got
You hear
going
me?
on. There you
Yeah,
are.
I hear you, Brendan.
Okay.
So, and this car was customized in the late 70s, so it was actually made into a two-door, but not the way that most people do it. It just had the back doors welded up,
Oh, okay.
because in New Zealand at that time you couldn't get an American two-door vehicle. It was just unattainable. They were just expensive. So a lot of Kiwi hot rodders actually two-doorized their cars by doing this.
Okay.
So it had disc brakes fitted on the front, 351 Cleveland. The Cleveland was fitted into this vehicle in about 1979, so the motor was only about 9 years old. A guy imported 5 351 Clevelands out of the States. They come over in a container in the late 70s, and this guy that owned this car at the time brought one of them, which is still the same motor, which is on the floor here. So it's a DOAE/J, so it's obviously 1970, and it's a sweet runner, and it appears to be all virgin, which is good.
Yeah.
So lots of room to play with. But unfortunately, this car, I'll get up close. It's pretty scary.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. Oh my. Yeah, you've got
see
some
that?
work to do. Yeah.
So it's got a nice dash, and it's in New Zealand, the 54s still ran a 53 dash, because the 54 didn't have all the cluster. I don't think you can see it very much with the cover.
Yeah.
But I actually cottoned on to a guy down south, and he's got a four-door sedan 54 sitting in a barn. He wants $3,000 for it. Comes with I think it's the 8BA flathead chassis and complete body. So if that body is better than this one, I would just take this body off the chassis and put the other body on, and then have obviously hopefully less rust work to do. But that's why I was asking. Like, I've been on Google EMS panels. They do 52 to 54 forward sills, floors, in and out of sills, wheel arch lips and that. So I can buy everything out of the States, but it's about $4,000 for all the panels I need.
Right.
This car on the road legal, would be about 30 grand.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's catch-22 with my new job, longer hours, and a big project like that. I'm sort of just, if I can get another body, then I'll do it. If not, I'm just sort of going to sit back and wait. And yeah. Yeah. I saw that comment. Yeah.
Yep.
So unfortunately, what happened is the transmission packed up in it, which it's a C4, and it got parked behind a pub down in Oamaru, which is about 4 hours from here, and it sat for 10 years outside.
Oh.
So that's what killed it.
So you got, here we go. There's a comment for Andrew.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
That's,
thank you. Awesome.
He goes by Guido. And he's trying to type with a crying baby and a broken hand.
Man.
So he's getting there. Well, that's
what a
cool.
Beautiful day. Look, what a beautiful day.
And it's Tuesday, right?
Yeah, it's Tuesday, and it is now 12:08 on Tuesday.
See?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a nice day tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the looks of it. That's interesting. It's like I said before, here we are, Andrew and I are on the same time zone.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Pennsylvania, I'm in Georgia. We're basically straight up from each other or whatever, but about 650, 700 miles apart.
Mm-hmm.
But, to see, oh, wow, look at this. This is really cool to see stuff in New Zealand live on the internet. So what is that?
That's the front half of my trailer. It is a 1956 Ford Prefect.
Did you do the landscaping as well?
Yeah, it generates a lot of comments when people walk past and I'm out here doing a bit of weeding or something. There's always someone that stops and says, "Oh, I had one of those cars 40 years ago." And it always strikes a good conversation.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You're giving me some ideas now. I've got half a Mustang sitting. I have half a Mustang sitting outside my door.
Just send it over here, and I'll build the whole thing.
Yeah. That's
so
cool.
That's the Ford Fairlane I was telling you about last weekend. That's a 2004.
That's a Fairlane.
Yep, 2004 Ford Fairlane. So it's basically an Australian car. It's the long wheelbase version to the Falcon.
Oh, okay.
But it's a 2004?
Yeah, 2004. Yep. and that's my partner's car
Interesting.
there. It's 2003 Ford Explorer. So you guys
Okay.
get them over
No,
there.
that I recognize.
Yep.
Yeah. But the other one doesn't look like anything we have here in the States, obviously.
No. Australia,
I
New
mean,
Zealand.
yeah, it's kind of a cross between like a Lincoln Town car and a old Impala or something.
It's all from the same sort of family, isn't it? But I see someone
Yeah.
commented about the so there's another look.
Yeah.
it's-
That's really cool, man.
And in the
That's a really
headlights,
cool.
so
Yeah.
down in
Do they
here,
light up?
so that there is original park light. So what I've done is I've put an LED sensor, and there's heaps of LED lights inside the headlight. So at night time, both headlights turn on.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So that was the last registration of the vehicle, 1993.
That's really cool.
So,
We'll see you, Michael.
yeah.
Glad you were here. Yeah, Mac Frank says he's seen old vehicles in Texas converted into chicken coops. I've seen stuff like that. Johnny Crash, Ford Australia makes some nice V8 cars, rear drive cars. Wish they'd bring them here. Yep. Especially since Ford in the U.S. is not going to make cars anymore. They're not going to make normal sedans anymore. They're only going to make, they're going to make SUVs and trucks and probably the Mustang. And no other, from what I've heard, like the Taurus and all that stuff's going away. They're not going to, it's not worth their time to build them anymore.
That's my MiG
There
there,
you go.
Andrew.
Is that? Oh, okay. Now, do you have a lot of experience welding? I missed that. In the,
I'm getting back into it. I'm an ex-panel beater, but that was like 20 years ago.
Okay.
I've been basically an automotive technician since I left my last panel shop.
Okay.
But yeah, getting back into it, and yeah, I have some basic skills and panel work and stuff like that. So most of the stuff on a car I can do myself, apart from interiors.
Okay, cool. I finally had that hit that point with mine where everything kind of came together, and everything's going a little smoother for me now. I still got a ways to go, but
what gas are you running on that, Andrew?
it's argon. It's 25, 75%,
Oh, yep.
25.
Yeah, this is a straight CO2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Which is fine.
what would be the advantage to that? Straight CO2 as opposed to not using.
It's cheaper.
Okay.
It's
So
cheaper.
is it dirtier?
It's not like a flux core weld. It's much tidier than that. But the argon, if you run straight argon, is obviously that's the ultimate for the gas for your MIG welder. That's much cleaner, much nicer. But the CO2, it's cheaper, does the same job, and it's still relatively clean.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
Well, Leonard's responding to my statement about the not building Ford cars anymore. Now they're saying Ford is backtracking on that. So that's what I had heard, but I don't know. Like, he's saying they're backtracking, so it's hard to say for sure exactly what the answer is on that. There's an answer from Robert on the CO2.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for Andrew, you just need to stick with argon CO2.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that's what I'll be doing.
Oh, there you go. There's an odd. Is that a Honda?
Suzuki.
Oh, Suzuki. Okay, there it is.
Suzuki FA50.
Yeah.
Now my partner's granddad brought it brand new in 1986, and he's sadly no longer with us. And this bike sat around for about 10 years. And over last Christmas, I spent a bit of time on it, got it going, and now it's all road legal. So
nice
day like today, I'll get on it, go to work, or little two-stroke.
Yeah,
nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, I need to get the seat recovered, but
I learned to ride on a little Honda CB161.
It's our registration.
Yeah.
So this hadn't been on the road since about 1988, and for a new number plate, 12 months registration, it was $220.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. For us that here in Georgia to register that would be about $25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this
But
is,
you know, those are becoming popular now on restoration stuff, like the old Hondas that look
Yeah.
like that. They're becoming popular here in the States for people that, you know, they used to have those. And so now you see them show up on Facebook Marketplace or on for sale pages, and they're wanting $1,400, $1,500 for those
that's
things.
right. That's right. I've been offered $1,000 for that bike, but no,
Yeah.
not selling it. It's not for
You know,
sale.
but yeah, I mean, they're selling them here for that. But let's see. Oh, there you go. You got a Texas plate.
Yeah, just a display plate. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And then we've got some Australian number plates. And these black ones are early New Zealand number plates.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Now, see, I see one says New South Wales. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, because I have a plate up here on my wall that a friend or somebody sent me from. He said from Australia. I don't know if it has NSW, the first state, on it. Is what's written on it.
I don't know if you can see that, but I've got a Queensland
Okay.
plate as well, and also South Australia.
Okay. Interesting.
They vary in years though, and then you got stuff like a New Zealand standard traditional New Zealand number plate, which
Wow.
is just pretty
So-
basic.
So the Australia plate, would it have New South Wales on it? Is that what that means?
Yeah, New
Okay.
South Wales. So that's so there's, as far as I'm aware, as in Australia, different states obviously run different registration rules. So
Okay.
you've got New South Wales, South Australia, Queensland, Northern Territory, and stuff like that. So, but that's, so if you go from South Australia to New South Wales, I think, then the police know that you've got a different. I'm not sure whether you have to change the registration to that state or you get an exemption. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I don't know if Andrew saw this. Did you see that last week?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. That's me in 1995. I was 14.
Yeah,
And
That's awesome. Was that your dad? You said
yeah,
it was your dad's car?
yep, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Genuine steel 32, roof chop. It's all genuine. That's where I get all my car stuff.
Do you still have it? Or know where it is?
No. They sold that in 99 and it actually went to Australia.
Okay.
So here's a comment from car guy Troy. He's saying cars are done at Ford for now. Joint venture with VW and works for electric cars, just building trucks, SUV at the moment. So with that said, car guy, are you? What about the Mustang though? They're going to keep the Mustang. There's no way they're going to part with that, I would hope. I don't see them. I mean, I know they have the electric SUV Mustang. Joke, but maybe he has some insight on that. And Ford sold the engine plant to VW. Okay, so there's some confirmation, let's say, from Robert. So apparently a joint effort between those two. And let's see, got a question for you. When I found the quarter panel for the Torino and I moved it, I found the hard way that metal shrinks. I'm not sure exactly if you mean it actually would shrink or it change shape. The metal's not going to really shrink, but it could be smaller based on where you cut it. That could be part of the problem too. I don't know what kind of question you're asking, but I haven't had metal get smaller. I'll say that.
Wouldn't mean gets tighter.
Say again?
Maybe getting tighter. Maybe if you're putting a rear quarter on, the whole panel gets tight. So you've got to make sure you give yourself a couple of mil grace when you're doing door gaps and boot lid gaps when you're welding on a rear quarter, maybe.
It's really hard to say because without seeing it or having it in my hands, I could see where it changed shape from being cut, where it could want to like curve a little more or something like that, to where you have to stretch it back up. I could see something like that. But yeah, there you go. As Max says right there, if it gets bowed more, it would look like it shrunk. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. So
I have a question for you, Barry, then.
Matt gets a bell for that. He answered the same question. Okay. What you got, Andrew?
So when you, like the Brooklyn Pony, for example, or for me, for example, when I cut off this quarter panel, if I just do one at a time, how much do I have to worry about the car twisting or moving out of shape? Because it
won't.
It's one of those things, again, where whenever you do the research on the internet, you get it's one extreme or the other. It's like nobody.
Well, if you're doing one side at a time, cut off the quarter, as long as it's not been in a serious accident to where there's a preloaded stress on it to where it's going to want to twist or torque, the outer skin is just there for really cosmetic. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you've got the inner structure inside the roof, the wheel houses, all that stuff. It's all going to stay. And if you have the weight off the car, have it on jack stands or whatever, there's no reason for it to pull.
Well, I'm going to leave the engine in it.
Yeah, but you're not working on the front.
Nope.
You're working on the back.
Yeah.
And so let me tell you, I've done a 65 Mustang where I replaced both front aprons. Okay. I rebuilt the cowl, the kick panels on the sides, all that stuff, except for the frame rails. V8 car with the engine and transmission still in it and on jack stands. I put aprons in it, and it stayed straight as an arrow.
Yeah,
had no issues.
Sometimes when I need motivation, I'll go back and watch the episode where you just shred the Brooklyn Pony to pieces, and you have like a firewall there to work with. And that same Mustang that I did, I replaced both quarters. I think I might have pictures of it on the Facebook page, maybe. But I replaced both quarters, the full trunk pan, both wheel houses, everything. Cut it all off at the same time on jack stands with the engine and transmission still in it. Well, I'm strategically trying to work on just sections at a time. I want to try to keep the car as complete as possible.
Right. So if you take off one quarter panel, all right, which we talked about the quarter panel.
Yes.
On the passenger side, you're only going to have to you get away with sectioning that one.
Yes. Yes. The driver's side's it's got it.
Right. So, but when you start with that and you start taking it off, as long as you've got everything square and level and it's not pushed up, whatever, nothing's going to shift. That frame rail is going to carry the load. I haven't seen any issues with any of that, especially if you don't have the rear end in it.
No.
So there's more weight off at this point. So I don't see it being a problem at all.
Good.
So
and
one less thing to worry about.
Andrew, as you're doing it bit by bit, that's good. Because what happens is a lot of people strip the whole car down and start cutting the whole car up and lost to where they are, and then end up selling it for nothing to someone because they can't be bothered because it looks major. You do bit by bit, you don't get lost in the car, and it gets done.
You guys there?
So
can you hear him?
You're doing it the right way. You there? You can hear me?
Andrew's froze.
Oh, he's frozen.
It's like Andrew's frozen. I don't know if he can hear us or not. But you're right. A little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Work your way through it. So I may have to resend Andrew a link. It looks like let me remove him from the thing and see if he comes back. But let's see. Leonard said he's going to send me a picture of his panel that shrunk. So we'll have to look at that. Barry, do you follow a lot of the Mustang pages on Facebook? Just was curious. I actually do. And I comment on there as Joe Daddy's Garage. So if you're looking at Mustang restoration how-to, 64 to 66 or whatever Mustangs and 67, 68 Mustangs, I follow those pages a lot, and I try to provide insight when I can. So, yeah, I follow them. Let's see. Is that an 8.8 rear in the newly painted image? I'm not sure which image you're talking about, Mac.
That might have been Andrew's diff that he's freshly painted.
Could be. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because he did just freshly paint the rear end in that car. And let's see, I've got Ted. Nothing but dimensions. I'm not sure. Oh, he's talking about Peterson restorations. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's done measuring. David Baker says he's faking it and he's frozen. Let's see. Oh, Dave's here. Oh, Johnny Crash looks like the 6-cylinder specific. Yeah, it's the 4. Hold on just a second. Let's see if I can get Andrew another invite here. Yeah, it is a 6-cylinder car, so it's going to have the 4-lug rear. Yeah, I don't know where Andrew went, but I will say, Brendan, you got a lot of stuff going on. I like your shop. Looks like you got a lot of good equipment going.
A bit messy at the moment, but we only just bought the house in October last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So a proud homeowner finally, after many years.
Good.
Hang on, we're gonna miss it. You didn't send me an invite, did you? Oh no. I was just checking the email. So you didn't send me one.
I sent Andrew another one. He got on for just a split second and he went away. So I don't know if he's having technical issues. So we have a bunch of different. We've got comments on the rear ends. We've got 6, 7.5. Johnny Crash says 6.25. Car guy says 7.5 rear end. It's a 4-lug. That's all I know. Let me see. I don't know if Andrew's internet went down on him or not. We'll find out. Maybe he'll probably send me a message here shortly. Yeah, Johnny Crash says he sold one on his car for $400. Yeah, Johnny Crash, how are you coming on your car? I know that you were working on the quarters and tail panel and all that stuff. And
he was too. Yes, he was. Yes.
And he was working out in his driveway. But I think he said he was moving to another house. I think Johnny Crash said he was moving to another house or another something with a shop or something. Okay, so here we got a comment from Cecil. There you go. Yep. And that's what people run into. They cut into everything and take everything off and think they're good, and then all of a sudden they don't know how to get it back together without having a resource. And I try to tell people this all the time. When I try to do one side at a time if I can. When I did that light blue Mustang years ago and I put in the full frame, the full floor pan, that car was already cut up and it was in bad shape overall. So the quarters had been cut off, and so they tried to weld on quarters and didn't do a good job. So there was really nothing to go by on that car. So that was really tricky. And I had a gentleman, which I've done those Camaro videos years ago, and I haven't talked to the guy in a while. He lives over in Alabama. He had an issue with a Camaro, 68 Camaro that he built. I think 68, maybe 69. Doesn't matter. It's the same process. That he cut off everything, and even the frame rails. I mean, it was just nothing behind the doors. And then he realized, how do I put this back together? So we got in touch with each other, and I talked him through it over the phone and telling him, this is how you need to do it. And basically, the end result was he built the shell of the car, got it all fitting right in space, and then put the frame rails underneath and brought them up to match. That's how we ended up doing it, because you don't have a reference point without a frame rail. But if you have the body, then he could work his way up from the bottom. So it was kind of a fun thing. He sent me pictures over the years of him building that car. So let's see. David's asking, hey, Barry, what fuel line you run? Stainless, rubber, nylon, other? Well, it depends on what you're doing. There's no problem using the original style steel line and having the rubber hoses connected just like they would normally. If you want to run stainless, you can, but there's really not much advantage to it. As I said before, these cars, they've been around 50 years. And is unlikely somebody builds a car and then they turn it into a daily driver and drive it in snow and rain and all that stuff. It gets driven on the weekends, on occasional Friday night or something like that. So your cars aren't exposed to the same elements they were in their lifetime. So you can use simple stuff and just, keep it clean. Let's see what I got here. Okay, so Johnny Crash says he's out of his driveway now, currently in a buddy's house in his barn, getting the garage ready for it at the new house. We moved from Arkansas. So we got that right, Brendan. We get a bell for that. We knew he was moving. Let's see. What's that?
I'm going to get a bell.
You did. We both got a bell. I was a bell for both of us. Robert, I don't resemble that. Mine is going back together. Okay. Yeah, we've seen, and if you haven't seen it, the latest viewers project was from Robert. That's him right there. And he did a good job. I know that there's 3X Xena. I don't remember what he goes by though. If there's a different name he uses, but Robert, he had shot video for that car. Hey, there you got a little helper. He had shot a video several times for his viewers project, but he had problems with his phone and other issues going on, of course. And so finally we got it together and put it out there. So it worked out.
Hi, Barry. Hi, Barry.
I don't know who we're talking to. Who are we talking to, Brendan?
I'm trying to get Emily to say hi, Barry.
Emily. Hi, Emily. There's Cecil talking again. What materials you like for brake lines? Stainless, nickel, copper. When I did the what was it on the Jade Mustang, I went with that other, not the steel line. They sell the green, that's pretty hard to bend. I used I don't know if it's a nickel copper one where you can actually bend it with your hands. I used that on the Jade Mustang and it worked out really well. So I would recommend using that stuff. Yeah, there you go. Brian says stick with the 75-25. And Andrew is here. He's just having internet problems. So, where did he put it? His internet is acting up. He's going to hang out in the comment section. Okay. Yeah. Don't forget to thumbs up on these live streams, guys. That all helps.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, there you go. Thumbs up. Thank you, Emily. Robert, it wasn't bad footage. The first few were bad, but that last one turned out good. You did a good job. So, let's see. Robert bought the classic tube line set. It was $80 on sale and hard to pass up. I bought the set that was from. It was I think it was CJ Pony or Mustangs Unlimited that I bought the kit for the 68 Mustang, and I ended up using like one piece out of it because when I added disc brakes, I had to custom make all the hard lines up front. So if you have a standard setup, it's probably just fine to use one of those kits. Yeah, there you go. I would too. Okay. Good. Let's see. My latest project started as a cleanup and repaint and about 15 body panels landed, new doors, new hood, new deck lid, new floor pans, new. Yeah. I understand, Mac. That's usually what happens. Starts a snowball and you can't stop it. We have, where did it go? NiCad brake lines, nice stuff from Brian W. Huh? Take your word for that. Okay. Oh. So Brendan's got to take care of his daughter. Yeah, you're right, Mac. None of it fit, and it never does. I don't understand it. That's all right. For the moment, Brendan, I have you muted. Just for the moment. These are good questions. You don't think about some of this stuff. And, there's brake lines, like I said, the green ones they sell at the parts stores, they're really hard to bend, but I use that softer material, and man, it was nice. Much better. Let's see. Robert, if it's better than a 4x8 sheet of steel, that's true. That is very true. It helps to have at least something that's close to the correct, closer to the correct piece than to have no piece at all. So that's a good point. Let's see, Mac, I said you were framing rear metal work on one of the cars. Watch those videos a dozen times. Good. Well, I'll give you a little bell for that, Mac. All right, Brendan, you're back on. I turned your mic back on, so.
She's sweeping the floor now.
Okay, well, that's good. Put her to work. Keep her busy. Because I'm sure she's not at school either, right?
No.
Everything shut down, yeah.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
So we were talking about brake lines. What do you use over there in New Zealand?
Brake lines, just your traditional, I suppose they just get redone in steel. I've seen people use copper.
Yeah.
But I've heard people saying about copper, people have said that they have blown out in the past. But I've never had any problems.
Yeah.
But when it comes to that sort of stuff, yeah, we usually use normal steel, your traditional brake line, flare tool, and just remake them. No problems.
Okay. I think they use a nickel copper mix for the softer stuff we have, so it has some nickel in it. But let's see. So Mac says he got stainless lines, had no problem with the flares and leaks, and that's as long as it's good products, it shouldn't be a problem. I just know for my purpose when I did Jade, the lines, because I had a mix of kits. I had the original, some of the original brakes I put on the disc brakes, and then I added power. So I put in a combination valve, and nothing was compatible. So I had to make all of mine, and that was a challenge. Andrew's commenting his internet's acting up, which I'm not surprised, because everybody's on the internet right now because they have nothing else to do. Mark is asking, quarter panel seam, what do you use in place of lead when replacing a quarter panel? Typically what I do is once I weld it in, like you're talking about the regular seam, I'll use stranded fiberglass as a filler. And just because I don't want to have really just regular Bondo. And I scuff it up real good, make it rough, and put in the stranded fiberglass and make it kind of dip in a little bit so that it's, can be covered with regular filler. So that's what I use. And I haven't had any trouble with it. Let's see. Robert, stainless is hard. It tends to be hard to seal at fittings. Copper will work hard and crack over time. That's a good point. You get a bell for that, Robert. All right. We'll see you, Dave. Or David. Glad you were here. I'm sure Brendan will be happy to see your comment. He said telling Brendan good night too. Yeah. So if the annealing isn't done right, the stainless tends to leak. That's very possible too. Oh, we got Terry Baptist showing up. He says hello. You're back on, Brendan, by the way.
I might just before you carry on, Barry, I might just drop back to the comments.
That's fine.
She's going to come in and out of the game.
I'll close you out.
Not upset your stream.
That's fine. I'm glad you were here. It's nice to see your stuff.
Yeah,
and maybe we'll have you again sometime.
No worries.
So, all right, we'll see
you guys. See ya.
Okay, so it's just back to me now. So you have to just listen to me talk and not Brendan from New Zealand or Andrew. Of course, Andrew, he froze. Couldn't do anything. So there's a comment for Brendan. having trouble putting in timing chain and gears. So he's asking Brendan a question, and I'll let Brendan answer that because I have not dealt with a 351 Cleveland. So we'll have to let others answer that question. I'm not sure what the problem is installing that, but what else we got going? Anyway, so things are still going. I know we've talked about it earlier in the broadcast about struggles with people having no jobs or being unemployed and all that sort of thing. But we all need to be proactive and take care of ourselves and do our thing, and keep washing our hands, avoid people. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm avoiding people. Okay, Mac is asking me, what is the deal with Iron Man? Well, I've had other people ask this question before, and I'll say this. Growing up with old comic books and reading about Iron Man when I was maybe 10, something like that, I had a very old comic book that's long gone. I don't know what happened to it. It wasn't the original, but it told the original story of Iron Man, how he came about. And he became my superhero at that point because here was a guy who, he was smart. We understand that. He had lots of money. We understand that. But he had brains. He had ingenuity. He had drive. Of course, he was by default put into a situation where he had to create this iron suit. And it's not so much about the iron suit. It's about the man in the suit. Now, you look at these other superhero characters, you've got Superman, who's got his power from the sun, and Krypton and whatever can hurt him, or, the Flash, or it has whatever happened to him, or the Hulk, it has gamma rays, and all these different characters throughout the comic book universe. Well, other than like Batman, who relies on smarts and physical abilities, Iron Man is self-made. He's the only self-made guy that stands out, in my opinion. He uses his brains, he uses his knowledge, and made himself into the character of Iron Man. And so I look to that as sort of an inspiration, and maybe it's dumb, I don't know, but as a kid, I was always impressed by that concept that you can make something of yourself from what you have, not having to reach out somewhere else, if that makes sense, I guess, in a way. Maybe I'm just being dumb and rambling on here, but that's just the way I look at it. He's the only self-made guy, so I'm kind of like, if he can do it, I can do it. That's why I've always looked at things in life. If this guy can build this car, I can build this car too. And I try to point that out, that if I can do it, you can do it. So anyway, hopefully that was a reasonable response, but that's how I look at Iron Man. So, I kind of have fun with it. I put there's Iron Man sitting on that Scout over there. Typically I'll put him somewhere in the video. I might hide him just to have people look for him, because now people are recognizing that I do that. And so they want to try to find him. And I know that there's a couple that watch from, I think, Iowa, and they always comment that they have a game where they try to find Iron Man, be the first one to find Iron Man. So sometimes I may just put him way off here somewhere in the corner. I thought it'd be fun to have him sitting on the Scout tonight. But anyway, let's see. Johnny says he's only get 66 moved in this week. Need to run new circuits for my welder and air compressor again, though. I'm getting close to working again, planning to get a rotisserie. Cool. Yeah, I know Johnny's been doing a lot of work in his driveway, which, hey, you got to do it somewhere. And now that he's working on getting into a real garage, he can get some more done. So that's really nice. Can I use a professional fuel line repair kit to repair a fuel line that was cut in half? Yeah, you can. I've put together fuel lines that, you have the union, the two collars and sleeves and all that stuff. There's no problem with that. It'll hold up. I know lots of people that use those unions. There you go. So that's a question back to Leland from Brendan. Okay, CC's from Iowa. Oh, hi, CC. Glad you're here. Yeah, Leonard, he was jumping for joy when I got the headers on. Iron Man was very excited at that point. You know, and I might have some fun with him. Just, I think it's a cool character. Really interesting. Yeah, CC, concrete driveway better than a gravel driveway. Whoops. Where'd it go? There you go. Yep. I agree with that. I'll give you a bell for that, CC. Any day to have it concrete. Yeah. Okay. So Johnny can work on it. And that's another good thing. Stay out of the rain. So that's cool. Okay. Yeah, I replied to your email, John or Mason. I don't know if you got it or not, but I did reply to it. So you may want to check to see. Yeah, I've said before, the hats, $26, shipped anywhere in the continental U.S. And I typically do PayPal. So Mason, if you're looking for an answer, PayPal is what I'm using. So let's see, Mac. There you go. Please don't forget to check your converter stub on the back of the stroker crank. Good point. Give you a bell for that. I will. I'll check that out. The kit that I have for the transmission, it came with its own torque converter and everything, but I will make a note of that to check that as well. Thank you. Oh, that's not good. One of our VMF guys ate a half dozen thrust bearings. Ooh, yeah, that's not good. Don't want to do that. So, anyway, what I was going to say, I'm thinking about maybe for this week, the rest of this week, maybe working on the Jade Mustang. Thinking about it. Now I still have that 65 Impala sitting outside here that I need to put a radiator in, check the transmission for leaks, and also I need to check the rear brakes on that car. And I want to do a video on it as well anyway. So I may have to do that, get that done so it can go back to its owner. Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe doing some work on the Jade Mustang, because for the Brooklyn Pony to get into primer, it's going to have to go in the paint booth, which is where Jade is sitting. And so I look at it as, if I want to get the Brooklyn Pony in there, I need to be able to get Jade out of there. And some things need to happen before I can do that. So I may just have to hit the pause right now for anything else and knock out some things that need to be done on Jade so that I can get it moving. Anyway, so what is Brian? Oh, this 82 GM pickup I'm working on has a set of 65 Mustang doors in the bed, and the owner has many 65 parts if anyone is interested. Well, Brian, that's some good information. Where are you located? It's probably a bigger answer, a bigger question. And if you want to share more than that, that's fine. It's up to you. I don't know where you're at. But anyway, yeah. Max says Texas taxes all concrete on our property taxes, and that they do it here too in Georgia. They've nailed me for quite a bit because I have a big long driveway. I say big long, it's probably 150 feet maybe, and then I've got all the concrete poured in front of the shop, and of course the footprint of the shop. So they've been hitting us up for taxes, which is part of the reason we were considering going or moving to Alabama. But I think the way things are now, we're not going to be able to, just because of where the country's at right now. It might be advantageous to find some property because people might need to sell it, whatever, but it's going to really put a damper on the idea of moving to another state and building a shop and all that sort of thing. But hey, that's the way it is. Brian is saying the parts that he has are in DuBois, PA. Yeah, I don't know what condition those are in, but I don't know where to tell you to post a link either. I don't know if you have gone onto the Facebook pages. There's a variety of Mustang pages available. There's part sale pages. There's Mustang restoration how-to. There's just a variety of Facebook pages. So you might want to post them there if you can, or post them up on Marketplace, something like that. And condition is key. You know, if you've got a rare set of Mustang doors that have no rust in them, they're worth buying. But if they've got corners rusted out and all that stuff, it's usually people are just going to go for the aftermarket. Let's see. Yeah, I missed Johnny Crash. He misses Texas with the property tax on new house, about a third what I paid there. I can tell you, they're getting us here in Georgia. They're getting us pretty hard. You know, where I live, the county that I live in, it's one of the more popular counties in Georgia. And I mean, there's like Major League Baseball players that live here, NFL football players that live in the area. There are, there's a movie studio. Pinewood Studios is now like 10 miles from where I live. And they've got all these studios. That's where they film all the all the Marvel movies and stuff. And since that they've all come in here, the property values have gone up, and which is great if you're planning on selling. But if you're living here and just paying taxes, it adds up really, really fast. And you know, that's why Alabama was so appealing. Yeah, John Berard says move to Florida. I guess that's what he's saying. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I mean, but I think I like this the slowed down environment over in Alabama. Yeah, 3X Xena. I'm sure. I know. And it's amazing. You know, we had a lot of people move here from New York years ago, and realizing that a house that is maybe the size of my garage, depending on where it's at in New York, is worth like $300,000, $400,000 because of the property values. And those guys that moved here, they about had a heart attack when they found out what they could buy for that same amount of money here in Georgia. And we call them McMansions, because these people are buying these huge homes and paying cash for them because they sold their overpriced property value home in New York, you know. And so anyway, 3X Xena heading to Tennessee, I hope, with a big shop. Yep, it's probably a good place to go. Tennessee's beautiful. I think we had considered Tennessee as a potential at some point, but like I said, for us, we're probably not going to be moving anywhere. If anything, maybe I can add on to the shop. Maybe. I've talked about it before. That wall over there is not finished for a reason. And that reason is I'd like to extend that wall, or add on another bay on that side. And so it would be like another, 14 by 36, if I could do it. And maybe just what I do is add on to the shop and leave it at that. But yeah, it's tough to make these decisions now. Everything's changed in the last month with this stupid virus coming in here and wiping things out. Yeah, here we go. We're having a debate on taxes. Yeah. You know, and Guido, you know, I know that California is nailing everybody for everything out there. And what I've heard is, and this is just what I've heard, that a lot of people are moving from California to Texas. I will say, if you're moving, in my opinion now, and I try not to get political, but if you're moving from California to Texas, don't drag the political policies of California to Texas with you. Just know that there's a difference between California and Texas. And when people start moving to these places where they say, this is great, they have lower taxes or they have a better way of life or, they're a better place to live, don't bring those policies with you to that new place you come to, because then it's just, you're just destroying it for everybody. Just my opinion, but I'm just saying, I've heard the warnings, that that's what's happening. People move from I'll just say a liberal environment to a conservative environment, and they try to bring those liberal things over with them. It creates a lot of problems. Anyway, just saying. CC, I used to have a lot of Mustangs, 15 total. Then you got divorced. I have 2 left, 1 hardtop. Where did the wives get a prenup? Okay. You get a bell for that, CC. Sorry you lost your cars. Robert says Arizona is nice. I've been to, where was I? I don't know if I've been to Arizona specifically, but yeah, there are some nice places. Leland. Okay, so you're conversing with Brendan, so I'm going to let that go. Leonard, how much of your yard can you develop? Well, I can do whatever I want as long as it's within 15 feet of the property line. So I've got almost 2 acres, acre and 2/3, something like that. I could build a huge shop if I wanted to. But at this point, I have this existing building. And if I wanted to build what I really wanted, I would have to tear this down and start over. And I'm not going to do that. I just can't do that. So I can just add on and probably be the simplest thing. Yeah. And like Robert says, California is still taxing those people after they move. Think about that. That's how deep California has their fingers and hands into the people of California's pockets, is they're still taxing them after they move. I've heard that. And that is scary. And like I said, don't drag those policies into the new state you go to. There's a reason why that state you like is the way it is. So, yeah. Let's see. I don't know what Mac was responding to. Mac says 15. I'm not sure what that's in response to. Yeah. That's what Austin is like. Very high cost of living now. Go there. Just about everyone you run into isn't from there. Yep. Oh, okay. So you're talking about the Mustangs. Sorry, Mac. I got it. Yeah. Let's see. They were saying here, don't California my Texas. Or any other state. Don't California any other state. California needs to be put up a fence. Yeah, exit tax. Yeah, that's what we're talking about here. Yeah. If you want to leave California, you have to pay taxes to leave. I can't believe that. That's crazy. 3X Xena says that as well. Yeah. Last thing you want is having local code. Well, yeah, if anything I do for me here at the shop, I'll permit it. I won't have any issues. It's no big deal. Leonard saying his taxes have doubled where he's at. I think now, Leonard, you're in California, right? I believe you're in California because I thought you were in Arizona, but I think you're in California. Randall Heath, I think that's a new name. Installing rear engine compartment aprons on my 67 Cougar with aprons in place. I have a 1/4-inch gap between the firewall and the apron flange. Looks like the new firewall was installed wrong. New engine compartment aprons. Randall, it's possible. I know I've had to massage aprons to make them fit the firewall. I've had to like reshape the end of them so that flange stretches out a little bit. Try not to sweat it. It's it's common that none of this stuff really fits tight, and I've actually had to extend the like I said, the flange where it meets the firewall, whatever. I've reshaped that so that the length of the flange shortens, but I still have something that I can weld to. If that makes sense. So don't sweat it, but just make some adjustments. Yeah, nobody. If I move, it'd be to flee these policies. Yeah, you know, and it's crazy. Oh, so we got Goodmunder, Eifels. I live in Texas. A lot of people moved over here in the last few years, almost an overcrowding situation. Yeah, you know, it's crazy because here people say, "Oh, let's move to Texas. It'll be great," but then everybody's trying to get in there, and it's really messing things up. Let's see. Oh, okay. Headed out, take a shower. Robert ran out of drywall tape, so tomorrow's a car work day. Good. You get a bell for that. Get to work on that car. 3 Casino, what's next on Jade? Probably, I've got a few minor welding things to do on it, just minor stuff. I'd like to get I think of one of the doors, I stripped it. It needs epoxied. I'm still stripping out door jambs, trying to get all those cleaned up so I can get epoxy in there. And I had issues with one of the door strikers. So I'm going to have to work on that. But there's a variety of little things that need to happen on Jade, just so I can get her fired up and, you know, out the door. Max says no permits or code enforcement in YM except for septic and electrical. Yep. That's pretty much how Alabama is. I mean, it's like, you want to build a giant shop? Go ahead. You want to build whatever. And they're like, they don't even have permits. It's crazy. Oh, sorry. Bob Shoemaker. So Bob Shoemaker's trying to respond to Leland. Change your year to 70 to see what happens for asking for 351C parts. Okay. Johnny Crash is a planned housing development outside Los Angeles, supposed to have 22,000 homes. They first applied for approval to build in 1994. Holy cow. I couldn't live there. You'd have to pay me a lot of money to live in California. You would. I mean, I've been there. When I was in the military, I was out in California for training. I mean, what I saw was beautiful. Beautiful country, you know, all over the place. But you would have to pay me, literally, a stipend to live in California. I would not voluntarily go there by any means. And I just can't see it. There you go. Ford tooling panel. Good call, Mac. You got to have that panel. I should probably go and buy as many of those as I can because I heard they're going to end up like not having those anymore or something. I should go buy like 10 of them and just put them on my rafters and sit on them. Johnny Crash, the housing crisis there is entirely artificial and has been brought about by the insane expansion of the California regulatory state. Yep. Okay, so we got Steven, the Stevester, Steve Meister. Sorry. I think every time I see a name Steve, it takes me back to what's his name doing that Office bit on Saturday Night Live where he'd say, making copies. Sorry. There you go. Well, I'm glad the videos are inspiring. I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Okay, so you have Jade still in progress in Brooklyn Pony? Yes. Yep. Yeah, Jade's been sitting in the back, you know, just kind of sitting. You know, I should do what Andrew does. Andrew does that. He does a weekly startup for his 65 Mustang. I should just do a weekly startup on Jade. Just to, here it is. Boom. There it is. It started. Terry Baptist, which end is better, 351 Cleveland or 351 Windsor? I think that's debatable on both sides. I really don't have a good opinion for either. I have not dealt with either one directly, so I don't have an answer, but somebody else may have an opinion. Nobody 66. They do pay well here, but not enough. Yeah, like I said, they'd have to pay me a lot of money to move to California. Yeah, realtor, not doing it. I like living in Georgia. Yeah, 3X Xena, the tail panel is the only panel that fit right out of the box. You're right, and I showed that in the video. I'll give you a bell for that, because that's the only panel I've ever had. I just went, and it, oh, look, I don't even have to do anything. All I had to do was drill some welds in it. I've been done. All right, so Leonard sent me a picture of a sail panel joint. Hopefully you'll see the gap between inner roof brace. I'll take a look at that, Leonard. Oh, we got A70 Deja Vu is here. That's a new name. I have not seen that name before, so welcome. So Terry CC says Cleveland with an exclamation point. Okay, yeah. Grease Rookie, I second the motion for a weekly startup on Jade. Leonard says get to Cleveland if you can afford it. Let's see. Max says used to be more aftermarket parts for the Windsor, but the Cleveland has the same stuff now. Main thing on the Cleveland is you have to consider it and what oiling system mods you're going to need. So there you go. There's an answer for you. Brendan was waiting for you to comment on the weekly startup, Andy. Yeah. Yep. Johnny Crash, where's the tooling panel? Amen. That's the only one that I know fits. I wish there was more panels like that. I really do. Now, you know, other car manufacturers like Camaro, I've used AMD parts on the Camaros, and it was very similar. Fit right on. Had no issues. You know, and unfortunately, the Mustang, the only thing you have that I know of, I think there were original tooling fenders out there for like a 67 or 68. And they're pricey, but if they fit, they're worth it. I can tell you that. But as far as 65.6, tail panel is the only thing it fits. Yeah, Mac used the tail panel to fit everything else to it. Yeah. Yep. That's pretty much how it works. It's unfortunate. Like I said, I think I hauled off that piece of metal that I had that was supposedly a tail panel, and it was straight as a board. It's like the manufacturer. But why would you even sell me that panel? When I did that Mystique Mustang, and I showed that piece, what a piece of junk that was. Why would you even manufacture a piece that's supposed to be curved, that has to interact with a deck lid that has to be, it's curved? Why would you even make something like that? It's just, ugh. Let's see. So we had Realtar. Most tail panels are not stamped to the curvature of the bezels. Mustangs Unlimited has stack all over pressed and can sell them. Finally found one to ask when it was. Well, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't run into that. I only had the original tooling when it fit very well. Goodmunder. Put Cleveland heads on a Windsor block and create a clever. A cleavor. I like that. Cleavor. Let's see. Dyno, Bob Shoemaker says, the dyno says use Windsor because Cleveland's eat valve guides and cranks. There you go. China don't care. Well, it's not so much China as the people that are having it produced in China. Those are the ones that really don't care. They just want to make their couple bucks off the part and send it on the line, down the road, let you deal with it, and not worry about it. That's the way I look at it. Because China doesn't even know what they're making. They're just giving us something to make, and they're like, okay, here it is. I made a copy of what you sent me. But quality control, of course, is not the same. But the people that are having this stuff made do not really care. Realtar, what? What are you asking me? Do you wear Lancome makeup on camera? I don't even know what that is. So, no. I don't have any makeup artists. This is what you get. No matter what you pay, this is what you get. As I see now, I'm at well over 2 hours now. Okay, I'm gonna have to call it a night here in just a minute. Stephen Edge, have you bought any sheet metal from National Parts Depot? Not for Mustangs, but I've heard good things. A lot of people have commented that NPD sells a really good panels. I have not bought directly from them for Mustangs. I bought for old Chevy trucks that I was rebuilding years ago, and I've had good luck with them for those products. So that's all I can tell you. And I think I bought some Camaro parts, but nothing for the Mustang. At this point, I'm stuck with what I have. I don't have any need to buy much more parts. Pretty much everything I have for the Jade Mustang is here, and as far as sheet metal and stuff like that. So, okay, I am going to call it a night. If you would throw a thumbs up on this video, leave comments on the video, all that cool stuff. It helps the channel. Any little bit helps. Yeah, so NPD, Johnny Crash says NPD was where I got my Ford tooling panel. Mustangs Unlimited were already out of stock when I got around to ordering mine. So there you go. Johnny gets a bell for that. I can only assume that's the same thing. Okay, so again, I'm going to call it a night. This has been fun. It was nice having Brendan and Andrew on. I know Andrew he got froze on us, so we had to delete him from the broadcast. And we got to meet Brendan's daughter, Emily, so that was nice. And, of course, it's Tuesday in New Zealand. So we're going to, according to Brendan, we're going to have nice weather tomorrow here in the States. At least that's what I saw in New Zealand. So, okay. I'll do this again on next Monday night. And I'm considering the idea of interviewing somebody if they want to be interviewed and do a conversation, a general conversation. I could record it with us talking like this, and then edit it if need be, and then put it on YouTube as a regular, like a podcast type of thing. So, Mac, glad you're here. Yeah, don't let the bed bugs bite, Terry. Thank you. And so we're going to call it a night. So, again, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And as I always say, until next time, take care of yourselves. Oh, wash your hands, please. See you.